Right now, somewhere behind your eyes, a cluster of neurons is doing something it did for your ancestors 10,000 years ago. It doesn't understand dollars. It doesn't understand a bank app. It only understands one thing. More. You felt it. The notification that your paycheck landed. The second a bet hits. The moment you check your portfolio and see green instead of red. For half a second, before you even process what happened, something ancient lights up inside you. That's not luck. That's not excitement. That's biology. Here's what nobody tells you about getting rich. Your brain was never built to handle it. Picture a hunter 12,000 years ago, crouched at the edge of a clearing, watching a herd graze just out of reach. His stomach is empty. His tribe is hungry. He doesn't know if today ends in meat or in nothing. And in that exact window of not knowing, something fires in his brain that has nothing to do with the kill itself. It fires on the possibility of the kill. That circuit kept him alive. It kept him focused, alert, obsessed with the herd instead of wandering off to nap. And when your paycheck lands, when the coin chart ticks up, when the casino wheel starts to spin, that same circuit fires inside you. Except there's no herd anymore. There's no winter to survive. There's just a number on a screen and a brain that still thinks it's hunting. For most of human history, wealth meant survival, not luxury. It meant enough meat to get through winter, enough grain to outlast a drought, a tribe that would still trade with you when your own hunt came back empty. The humans who felt a jolt of pleasure at the sight of surplus were the ones who hoarded it, protected it, and passed their genes forward. The ones who felt nothing just ate their extra meat that same week and starved come January. So evolution built you a reward system tuned to scarcity. And it never got the memo that scarcity ended. Even after humans figured out farming, even after grain surpluses and early trade routes, wealth still wasn't about comfort. It was about rank. Archaeologists digging through Bronze Age burial sites keep finding the same pattern. Some graves hold nothing but bone and cloth. Others hold gold, imported beads, weapons no one ever used in battle, buried purely to announce status to whoever dug them up thousands of years later. The pile of stuff was never really the point. The point was being seen having more than the tribe next door. Your brain still runs that exact program today. It doesn't measure your wealth against some fixed, healthy standard. It measures it against the people around you, and it always has. Stanford neuroscientist Brian Knutson spent years scanning brains while people gambled for small amounts of money inside an MRI machine. What he found wasn't what you'd expect. The biggest surge of activity in the brain's reward center, a small region called the nucleus accumbens, didn't happen when people won. It happened right before, in the anticipation, in the maybe, which means your brain isn't actually rewarding you for being rich. It's rewarding you for the chase. Think about that for a second. The dopamine hit isn't sitting in your bank account. It's sitting in the seconds before you check the app, before the wheel stops spinning, before the coin chart refreshes. Your brain gets its payout from uncertainty resolving, not from wealth itself, which is exactly why the moment you actually have the money, something strange happens. Nothing, or close to it. In 1978, psychologist Philip Brickman ran one of the most quietly devastating studies in behavioral science. He tracked down major lottery winners, people who had, almost overnight, become wealthier than they'd ever imagined. Then he compared their everyday happiness to a control group of ordinary people who'd won nothing at all. Within about a year, the winners weren't happier. On simple daily pleasures, things like eating breakfast or chatting with a neighbor, they actually scored a little lower than people with no windfall at all. Your brain has a thermostat, not a fuel gauge. It doesn't track how much you have. It tracks how much just changed. Economists call this hedonic adaptation. You feel wealthy for a moment, and then your baseline quietly resets around the new number, and the chase for the next one begins again. So why does the fantasy of sudden wealth still feel so intoxicating if the payoff fades this fast? Because your brain isn't actually forecasting happiness. It's forecasting relief. Relief from the version of you that flinches at rent. Relief from checking a bank balance and feeling your stomach drop. And relief, unlike happiness, is real and enormous the first time you feel it. The problem is, your nervous system adapts to relief just as fast as it adapts to everything else, which means the finish line keeps sliding forward the moment you reach it. Nobel-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman spent decades studying how humans actually experience gains and losses, and one of his core findings should terrify anyone dreaming about getting rich quick. Losses hurt roughly twice as much as equivalent gains feel good. The same brain that lit up when your net worth doubled will light up even harder and far more painfully the moment it drops by half. This is the twist almost nobody sees coming. Getting rich doesn't just fail to fix your relationship with money. It often makes that relationship more volatile. Before, you had little to lose, so the swings felt small and forgettable. Now, every dip in the market, every red candle, every slow month registers as a threat because your brain is calibrated to loss aversion, not gratitude. The higher the number climbs, the more there is to lose, and the more your ancient scarcity circuitry has to work with. This is also why so many lottery winners, athletes, and overnight founders end up broke again within a few years. It isn't stupidity, it's neurology colliding with a world that moves faster than evolution ever accounted for. Their brains kept chasing the anticipation high long after the money arrived, because anticipation, not possession, was always the actual reward. So they went looking for the next chase. A car, a business, a bet, anything to feel that pre-kill flicker one more time. There's a reason a raise that once would have felt like a miracle can now feel like nothing at all. In the 1970s, economist Richard Easterlin noticed something odd sitting in decades of national survey data. As entire countries grew richer on average, reported happiness barely moved. People weren't measuring their lives against how they used to live. They were measuring against the neighbor's driveway, the coworker's title, the cousin's new kitchen. Economists now call it the Easterlin Paradox, and it explains something your bank balance never will. Your brain doesn't ask, "Am I okay?" It asks, "Am I ahead?" And there is always someone one rung higher to measure yourself against. And now, look at the world you're actually living in. Every app on your phone is engineered around exactly this discovery. The slot machine pulled to refresh. The crypto chart that updates every second, so your brain never runs out of maybe. The influencer flexing a car you'll never own, filmed to trigger the same anticipatory circuit as a jackpot, except the jackpot is imaginary and the ad revenue is real. You are living inside a machine built by people who read the same research you're hearing right now and used it to keep your thumb moving instead of your bank account growing. Picture the version of you at 2 in the morning, phone glowing, thumb hovering over a chart that's either about to save your month or wreck it. That flicker in your chest isn't excitement about the outcome. It's your brain running the exact same subroutine as a hunter watching a herd, except the herd is candlestick colors and the winter is imaginary. Every notification that says your order shipped, your follower count rose, your investment ticked up, is a tiny hit of that same anticipation chemistry that once told a hunter the herd was close, except the herd never actually arrives. There's always another refresh. Walk into any casino and you'll see the same circuitry on full display. The lights are dimmed except over the tables. The chips don't feel like money because they're not supposed to. Every near miss on a slot machine, every close call at the roulette wheel, is engineered by people who studied exactly what Knutson found in that MRI machine. A near miss lights up the anticipation circuit almost as hard as an actual win, which is precisely why a losing streak can feel just as gripping as a hot one. The house doesn't need you to win. It just needs your brain to think winning is close. So what actually works? The people who build lasting wealth, the boring ones, the ones with the steady retirement account and the paid-off house by 65, aren't beating this system through willpower. They're beating it by removing the chase entirely. Automatic transfers instead of daily decisions. Long-term index funds instead of hourly price checks. They've engineered their lives so the dopamine trigger, the checking, the refreshing, the anticipating simply has nowhere to happen. Not because they're calmer people by nature, because they gave their ancient brain fewer opportunities to fire in the first place. Compare that to the version of getting rich you actually daydream about. The instant windfall, the lucky trade, the overnight following. It's not that this version is impossible, it's that even when it works, it hands you a brain that's still starving for the chase, sitting inside a life that no longer offers one. That's the part the highlight reels never show you. The 6 months after the big win, when the calls stop feeling exciting and start feeling like maintenance, which reframes the entire question you started with. Getting rich was never about hitting a number. Somewhere behind your eyes, that same cluster of neurons that once tracked a herd across a clearing is still running the exact same program, whispering more, 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 no matter what the account balance says. It didn't evolve for stock tickers or lottery apps or a follower count climbing in real time. It evolved for a world that ran out of food in winter, and it has no idea that world is already gone. The people who actually feel rich aren't the ones who hit the biggest number. They're the ones who figured out how to stop the chase from restarting every single morning. And that isn't a financial skill. It's a biological one, hiding in plain sight behind your own eyes, still hunting a herd that stopped running a very long time ago.